Arc 4. The Everlasting Covenant. Chapter 99, Alone in a Confined Space. Two vital characters have simultaneously gone missing. Naturally, facing a situation that had never come up in these loops, Subaru's insides were burning with panic. Sprinting through the sanctuary, Subaru headed for Lua's residence, the small cabin on the village outskirts she had been living in after lending her home to Amelia. Garfield, look who decided to come. When Subaru belted open the door and stormed inside, he found Garfield standing there imposingly, waiting for him. With arms crossed, nose furrowed, and irritation in plain view, he glared at Subaru. Garfield, took why long enough? How long were why plannin' to keep me waitin'? Subaru, well, I got here as fast as I could. But never mind that, what's this about Louis Sen being missing? Garfield, can't why see for yourself? Garfield jerked his chin, indicating the cramped room. Looking over the space, if it were wide enough to be called that, Louis' temporary lodging was a simple shack with no furnitures except a bed. If Louis wasn't on that bed, then there was no doubt she wasn't in this house. Taking control of his breathing, Subaru roughly wiped the sweat off his forehead with a sleeve. Subaru, it's obvious she's not here, but isn't calling that missing a bit too much? Louis Sen may not look like it, but she's a proper adult already. Maybe she's just out for a walk or something, there's no need to. Garfield, shut up. Fuck you no. Granny ain't never missed showing up at breakfast fair no fucking reason. I ain't never seen her oversleep or stay sick in bed either, and why sayin' she's taking a walk? Why want me to eat ya? Subaru, that was a rough way of putting it, but your life with Louis Sen sounds pretty cozy, huh? Even with circumstances as they are, the basis for the notion that Louis has gone missing was actually rather weak. Pointing this out, Subaru slumped, but Garfield didn't seem to share in Subaru's sentiment. He walked up to Subaru, who finally straightened his back, and bared his fangs. Garfield, it never happened before, yet it's happenin' this mornin'. If anything's happenin' now that ain't happened here before, it's 'cause you people re-involved, even an idiot knows that. Why bastard did something with Granny, didn't ya? Though Garfield seemed to have an incredible knack for making baseless accusations, this time, his suspicion hit right on the mark. Louis Theta's disappearance was almost certainly because of Subaru. It was hard to imagine that someone would have kidnapped her and Amelia simultaneously. She left willingly without saying anything to Garfield. Just like Amelia, she was blocked by the sanctuary's barrier, so she couldn't have fled outside. In other words, it was her intention to go into hiding. And the time limit for finding her was even more pressing than Amelia's. Subaru, if I don't find Theta-san by the end of today, the rotation schedule will switch her into tomorrow's Louis Alpha, Beta, or Sigma will take her place. If that happens, he will not have another chance to speak with Theta within the 2-day limit, and his perfect run of the sanctuary route will be thwarted. Garfield, Theta? Hearing Subaru call Louis this, a question mark floated onto Garfield's face. Subaru was about to ask for Garfield's help in finding Theta, but he gave up on that idea the moment he saw Garfield's expression. The question surging up inside Subaru prevented him from saying a word. Subaru. It was a simple question, but one he had never confirmed. Does Garfield actually know about the 4 representative Louis personalities? Garfield certainly knew about the Louis Meyer inside the crystal in the abandoned experimental grounds deep within the forest. He had challenged the trial, met Akadona, and qualified as an apostle of greed. Naturally, holding the command authority over replicants, Garfield was aware of the existence of the identical-looking Louis clones. But what about the rest? Does Garfield know about the 4 Louis personalities, Alpha, Beta, Sigma, and Theta? Garfield, hell's that? Why stop talking all of a sudden? If why got some kinda clue, fucking spit it out now. Straight and honest Liblib's happy even when he's swindled, they say. Subaru, sounds like Liblib's going to be swindled forever, like that. Imagining the story of some random happy prince, Subaru wasn't sure how best to answer Garfield. His confrontation with Garfield was supposed to be the final barricade to completing the sanctuary route. Honestly, Subaru wasn't nearly prepared enough to face him without having heard what Theta has to say. And yet, whatever answer he gives here could inadvertently influence the outcome. Just how should he respond? After much deliberation, Subaru, say, Garfield. Couldn't you just summon Lewis-san if you wanted to? Garfield, GH. Immediately, Subaru saw Garfield's expression violently shift. Garfield's eyes wavered in discomposure as he lunged forward, grabbing Subaru by the collar. At a distance so close that their foreheads almost touched, Garfield's golden pupils seethed with rage so intense that it could burn its target to nothing with that gaze alone. Garfield, fuck why talking about? I ain't got a shred of fucking Milfram's clue fuck you're talking about, oi. Subaru, I don't know what a Milfram is, but that's not exactly the reaction of someone who doesn't have the shred of a clue, is it? Let go, dumbass. Perhaps flipping out and grabbing Subaru was just his way of calming himself. Garfield's words as he tried to cover it up was inherent nonsense. Hit right on the mark by Subaru's observation, Garfield's grip loosened as Subaru used the opportunity to escape. Smoothing out his crumpled clothing, Subaru took a step back to put some distance between them. Subaru, I meant exactly what I said. I know you're not too stupid to understand. You have a way to do it. You have the quickest, simplest solution on hand. Why aren't you using it? Garfield, why say it like it's fucking easy? TCH. Garfield's cheeks twisted in disgust as he glared at Subaru with utmost hatred. But despite the intensity of the rage and hostility harbored in those eyes, Subaru could clearly discern a shadow of grief mixed within it. Noticing that hint of sorrow, Subaru's expression shifted, but Garfield, sensing that the depths of his emotion had been seen through, clicked his tongue and looked away. Garfield, that's why I can't let down my guard with a qualified bastard standin' here. I dunno what that fucking witch filled your head with. But don't fuck with me, don't fuck with me. Subaru. Garfield, so you know about Granny's experimental grounds? Then why must know about Granny's original in Rock as well? It ain't something just use. Clutching his chest with his right hand, it was as if Garfield was trying to hide it from Subaru's view. Even though it probably wasn't physically there, Subaru figured he must be indicating the invisible command authority he possessed. With his arm still holding his chest. Garfield, I ain't anything like you and Roswell. I ain't gonna use something just because I can. I ain't never gonna think like that. Subaru, Garfield. Garfield, just me alone is enough. Long as I got myself, I don't need anything else. I ain't fucking using this power, unless it's the last of the last of the last resort. Grandma, she's my grandma. Those last words fell to a whisper. Subaru had heard him call her grandma once before. But this time, it was more tender than he had ever heard him speak. Without any intention behind it, what slipped out must have been Garfield's true thoughts. Garfield, TCH. Noticing his own slip-up, Garfield kicked at the floor in frustration. The exorbitant force caused the whole shack to lurch, sending down specks of dust tickling Subaru's head as he waited for Garfield's next move. Realizing that he was the only one getting worked up, Garfield's expression twisted in even further discomfort as he shoved Subaru out of the way. Garfield, move. I ain't talking with you anymore. If you ain't telling me where Granny is, I'll just look for her myself. When I do, I ain't letting Y touch her ever again. Subaru, why does that kinda sound like it's all my fault? Garfield, before Y fuckers came, everything was peaceful and nothing ever happened here. I'm bringing us back to that time. I don't need nothing whether it's in here or out there. I don't need nothing. Leaving those faltering words behind, Garfield marched out of the small shack. Bending his knees as soon as he was out of the door, He bounded out with his bestial leg strength, and although his path was straight, he disappeared from view in only a matter of seconds.